Go from Salnon, first thing is push and really put the leg in position. Create the space that you're going to be working in. Okay? Then the transition is from strongly pushing here, okay, is to come up until I frame the hip. Okay? Frame the hip means clearly one knee is below the hip, one knee is above it. And I'm about on a 45-degree angle. Okay? Then bring this up, wrist behind the knee and little rock. If the person was really inhibited or really had some issues, this might be enough to get the hip to open up. This might actually be very, very good. Okay? Then it's hand to shoulder, not leg to chest. Okay. Hand to shoulder, not leg to chest. Why? Because the shoulder is what you tilt over on the side and you keep the leg away from you. Hand to shoulder, see how it's not touching my chest, and then I lay over, and look at this. See? And that springiness is from my body weight, not from how hard I'm pushing. 1, wrist. 2, mid forearm, hand to shoulder. Same thing again. Now, the direction I'm moving in is this knee is going toward the shoulder. Now, it may not go that way. It may only go partially that way. It's fine. It's actually, no yoga therapy posture is about range of motion. Right? The last thing that we're adding as an absolute criteria for correctness in the delivery of a yoga posture or yoga therapy posture, maybe not for hatha yoga, but for yoga therapy posture is range of motion. I'm not attached to how far he goes. Right? I may have an ideal in my mind what is good for him and how far he should go and how far people in general should go. Right? But when I'm working on this person, I'm in his space. And actually, his body gets to set the rules on accessible range of motion. His body, not my intention. Right? Because in this way, I'm the servant. I'm the servant. I'm not the director. Right? I am serving up the posture. And then the master, who's his innate, decides how much he wants to consume. I'm the servant. I deliver the meal. I don't force the master to eat the meal. Because if I could, I'd no longer be the servant, would I? If the servant could come up to you with the meal and then force you to eat what you wanted, then they're no longer the servant, are they? There's something else entirely, right? So one of the keys to sort of being appropriate with people at all times is never losing sight that I'm the servant, okay? So middle forearm is still hand to shoulder, right? Hand to shoulder. And then I lever over and I exhale a little bit and relax a little bit and let it go. Third position, back to start. Boom. Upper forearm, not elbow. Upper forearm. So what I'm actually doing, and see now on the upper forearm position, even though it's hand to shoulder, I now have leverage against this part of my arm as I come over. See, the angle is starting to change, right? And now I have leverage. When I was here, I had a wedge against the back of the knee, but no leverage. By the time I get to here, I actually have leverage into the back of the thigh. Where as I lean over, that's also directing the energy. I don't have to push. Why? Because I'm super strong here. Why am I super strong? Not because I'm super strong. Actually, I'm not super strong. Anybody who knows me and sees me work knows I'm like, I'm not very strong, okay? But what I have there is leverage. You see, leverage maximizes the little strong that I have. He's at a mechanical disadvantage. I'm at a mechanical advantage, right? And so therefore, once I come into this position, and see how I got my center of gravity up and moving forward? Now look, I just a little exhale. He knows I'm here. I don't have to send out invitations. He knows I'm here, right? Now, out of this position, I come up on my knees. Pelvis forward. Rotate out on top of the knee. Now I change my position. Aim. Right? Bullseye. Aim. This foot is heading out over that shoulder. This knee is heading out over this shoulder. And then look what I do. I force the leg forward. No. As I push out, I back up till my arms are straight. See, I don't force him forward to get my arms straight. I back out to get my arms straight. And then if I'm in this position, again, can you see this hand on the knee? You see what I'm doing? I'm not grabbing. I have a pistol grip on the foot. But watch what I do here. As I inhale, as I exhale, I rock forward. See? It's not important how far he goes. It's important that we go to resistance and maybe a little bit more. How's that feel? You okay? Right? And then to release, I back off the spring tension and back up, back up, back up. Say it. Back up, back up. See, I'm walking until I'm in a lunge, which is square to his center line. The ankle's on top of my thigh, pistol grip on top of the foot, boop, square, nail it to my ribs, lean forward, back and forth. No pressure here yet. Lean forward, tension, straighten up, no tension. That's how I know I'm in the right place, in the right position. When I lean forward, there's tension. I'm not pushing, I'm leaning. You feel that? You feel this line? Evan?
Yeah, no, I feel.
Oh, that was good. So when I lean forward, there's tension, and when I straighten up, there's not. That's how I lock this so the knee doesn't buckle. If you don't have this square and tension on it when you go forward, then you can have an accident. And this does happen, it has happened, and people have been hurt. Not the client, the therapist. This can hurt you bad. This can end up with you in an emergency room. I know of 2 cases, former students, who ended up in an emergency room not doing this position correctly. See how I have my palm behind it? See how the foot is square? Got that pistol grip, toes are forward, and then I lean and lock first, right? Why do I do that? Is because if I don't have tension on the foot, and I go to put pressure on the lateral leg here, there's a number of people, as soon as they feel this, they will bend their knee. Bend your knee.
Mm-hmm.
It's sudden. It's perfectly aligned to break your nose. So I actually know 2 students who had to get their client to take them to the emergency room because they broke their nose during the session.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Okay, now let me say this. If I don't say it once, I'll say it 100 times. Breaking your nose during a session, healing your client, does not engender a sense of confidence in your competence. You crashing and burning halfway through their session does not build in them a feeling of confidence in your competence. And if your client has to take you to the emergency room because you messed up and weren't paying attention, slipped up, didn't lock that leg before you put this flex here and then went flex, and that knee pops up because you are now committed, and bang, it goes right there. Okay? And in both cases where this happened, The clients were like, never mind, accidents can happen. Took them to the emergency room, and then the therapist never saw them again. It never came back. It never came back. I think not just because they no longer had confidence in their competence, but because maybe they don't like the sight of blood. Maybe because they're now afraid somebody's going to get hurt during the session, and they didn't go to you to help their back pain to undergo a trauma, a traumatic event, which ended up with a hospital visit. In fact, maybe the reason they were coming to you was to stay out of the hospital in the first place. Follow me? So this is experience. The foot is flat. This much of the palm, okay, is locking against the outside of his foot. See how I turn it a little bit, and then here's the key, here's the lock, right here, to my side, not to my front. It's not like this. It's to my side, like this. Okay, and now my hand is plenty good for the heel of my hand to come to center line. See, I don't have to turn sideways to do this. I'm here, and then here it is. 1, 2, 3. Stop a hand width away from the knee. So there's no direct pressure on the knee in this position, right? And then it's cover it, get behind it, rotate into center line and sit down. Then center the leg, push out, and then lean forward. Okay, here we are. And then to come out, now also notice I don't have a death grip in my hand. I don't have a death grip. Okay? It's just a projection into the position is what holds it. Right? And it doesn't matter how far we go. If he's got better range of motion than I have to give him in this position, here's what I do. I release the pressure and move up, move forward. That's what up means. Then I put my inside knee on the thigh. Then I center, but I have to lean back. See this? I have to lean back to get my arm straight. But now, when I rock forward, oh goodness. Oh, did you hear that? Well, listen. Listen better, it's too late. That breath, as I move into this position, tells me I'm at the functional limitation of his range of motion. And I'll hold it for, 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 or 150 seconds, whatever I feel is appropriate. And then I turn out and roll out to set the leg down, which puts me here to make nice. You see? And make nice is like make bread. Roll the dough out. Roll that dough out. It's a little rough. It's a little, you follow me? So who makes bread? Anybody make bread? So you can't be kind to the bread. Do that, right? I don't. Why? Because I'm not trying to control the foot as much as I'm trying to control the knee. I'm actually doing what's called a nerve block. In other words, by putting pressure on the ankle, I'm actually inhibiting the knee from doing something. Feedback loop in the nervous system. Okay? This is an intentional technique in martial arts. When I want to put you in a position that you can't get out of, which technically is called a lock, okay? Then I put pressure on a joint above or below the lock, and guess what? It weakens, even paralyzes the main joint that I don't want you to be able to move. May also create a lot of pain. Okay, extraordinary, a lot of pain. I'll show you later. This is my favorite thing. I like to show people locks and make them cry. And Julie says I probably shouldn't do it so much. Not because it hurts you and makes you want to cry, but because it makes me too happy. I'm just saying, it's something she says. So what I want to do though, is so I come in here, now watch what I do. I take the heel, I turn in, so this is on the outside of my ribs. the lateral ribs. And then, see how I keep my elbow back? Don't let my elbow float. Keep my elbow tight and back. Why? So this part of my palm can push into the outside of her foot at the same time I have this pistol grip. Now watch what happens to her foot. Okay? First, here's this. Now watch what happens when I lean. No rotation. Okay? That lock protects the knee. That lock protects the knee. Now I can work that number one line without fear of her, of me dropping, of her spasming, of her quick defensive reflex to avoid the position, the pressure on the knee, and me dropping into her knee and breaking my nose. Right? So it's all handled. Okay? And also, I have such good isolation on that outside line number one here. See?